Hey Dragonflies, it's time for another lesson with Mr. Madsen. Today we're going to continue with our second step lessons, and let's get started. So last time I talked to you about our feelings being kind of like the weather. So if you think of that, if it was sunny out, you might feel happy or content. If it's rainy, you might say, oh yeah, I feel sad, or it feels sad out. Lightning might be angry. Storm clouds brewing might be scared. This picture of snow may cause worry for adults. I don't know too many kids that get worried when it snows, but you get the idea. A strong wind when embarrassed. A big storm with lightning and thunder is shocked. And this one I think really applies. A tornado for confused. You're just swirling around and around and around, and you have a ton of feelings, but you're not sure which feeling to feel. And that can be like a tornado. So I'm not saying that our feelings are the weather, but our feelings are just our body's response to what's happening to us. And if you notice, like with the weather, it might be sunny one minute, wait 15 minutes, it might be raining, or it might be snowing, or it might be doing something different. That's how our feelings are like the weather. Our feelings change often, and they're dependent on what's happening to us. So last time, we watched a video about lunchtime. And I want to point out, you remember Jenny and Meg were sitting and having lunch, and Jenny was drinking milk. Okay? Brian and Kyle finished their lunch, and they had their trays, and they were backing up, and they were going to go put their trays away and then get ready to go out for recess. Kyle wasn't watching where he was going, and he backed into Jenny, and this caused her to spill her milk, and not only spill it, but it went down her shirt. And I don't know if you've ever spilled milk or had milk spill on you, but milk, after a while, it spoils, and it can start to stink. So this is kind of a problem, right? I mean, if it was water, it would just dry and it would be okay. But milk is more of a problem, okay, unless it gets cleaned up right away. Once Jenny spilled her milk, Kyle and Brian started laughing. They thought it was really funny. And that is our natural response. We often laugh when things happen to other people, even if it's not funny. That just seems to be our first response, maybe to deal with some anxiety that we have, or we're not sure how to feel in the situation. Meg got really serious and looks angry. If you look at her picture, she looks angry. She's worried about her friend, okay? She asked Jenny if she wanted her to go get some help, and Jenny said no. So Jenny is completely sad, okay? Kyle, to his benefit, notices right away. He looks at Jenny's face and he can tell this isn't funny. He immediately changes what he's doing and he runs to get some paper towels to help Jenny out. Meg thought he was running away because he was worried about getting in trouble. But that wasn't it at all. Kyle went because he realized this wasn't funny and he needed to make it right. He came back, he apologized, he gave Jenny the paper towels so she could sop up the milk. Then, did you notice? Jenny and Meg and Kyle were all laughing. And Jenny even says, I didn't know milk could explode like that. And then everybody's feelings were better about this situation, which was just an accident. Now, Brian, we don't know much about Brian. He just kind of laughed and didn't really offer to help. And I would say Brian is what we call a bystander. He's someone that watches things happen and doesn't get involved to help. Brian could have been what I call an upstander, meaning he could have jumped in and said, hey, Kyle, it's not funny. We need to help her out. Or he could have been the one to go get paper towels and help. But he didn't. And that's the problem with bystanders. They don't really get involved and help. And we actually need them to get involved and help sometimes. I have another video here that I want you to watch, and it's called Emotional ABCs Breathing. So take a look at this video, and then we'll talk about it.
We've learned what feelings feel like. so we can recognize them when we have them. We're ready for the next step. Pause, rewind, and...
Didn't we forget something?
Forget something? What?
Oh, we forgot to breathe.
I'm breathing.
No, emotional ABCs breathing. We have to learn how to breathe to work with our feelings.
Oh, that breathing. Okay. Let's learn to breathe.
But we're already breathing.
Yes, you are already breathing. But we're going to learn emotional ABCs breathing.
It's different than regular breathing?
Oh, yes. It's way different. Uh-oh.
I'll explain. Because feelings are strong and emotions are powerful, we need special breathing to do our emotional ABCs. No, nothing like that. That's too fast. Breathing fast actually makes it harder to figure out what we're feeling. Emotional ABCs breathing are deep, slow belly breaths. In 1, 2, 3. And out 1, 2, 3. In through your nose like you're smelling flowers. And out through your mouth like you're blowing out candles. And lastly, breathing for us means 3 breaths. In 1, 2, 3. Out 1, 2, 3. In 1, 2, 3. Out 1, 2, 3.
I feel calm.
All right, so we just watched a video about something we already know about, right? We already know about breathing. We've been talking about this since you were in kindergarten, okay? And so I like this video though because it really does a good job of explaining how to breathe. All right, we've talked about belly breathing and volcano breaths and hot cocoa and balloon breaths, all of those different kinds. But I like this one because it's simple. So to begin, you breathe in 1, 2, 3, like you're smelling a flower, okay? And so you're breathing in through your nose because it is smelling the flower, okay? Then you breathe out 1, 2, 3, like you're blowing out candles. It's a controlled breath, okay? This is the simplest way to do breathing, and it's the simplest way to calm our bodies down, okay? So let's talk about our brains. And so if you've been at Duncan for a while, you've probably seen this poster in your classroom. Maybe you remember it from when I talked about it. But our brains are really big and complex, but we only focus on 3 parts of the brain, okay? And there's only 3 parts that we're going to think about because otherwise it would be a whole different class, okay? So the first part we're going to talk about is called the PFC, or the prefrontal cortex. That's this purple section right in the front of our brain, okay? It's a big section. This section is really important because it helps us to solve problems, helps us to pay attention, and helps us to make good choices, okay? This is the PFC. It's the learning part of our brain, okay? The next part we're going to talk about is called the amygdala, and it's represented by these pink circles in 2 areas of our brain. The amygdala is really important too because it's the security guard. It's watching to make sure that we are safe, okay? So it's looking for danger. It uses our nose, it uses our eyes, it uses our ears, taste, touch, uses all of our senses to try to determine if something is safe or not. If it says, this isn't safe, it unplugs our PFC, our prefrontal cortex, and it tries to take charge. And it'll tell you to either fight, which means protect yourself, take flight, which means get out of there. Freeze, act like a statue and maybe the danger will just walk by. Faint, which is kind of like falling asleep, except you might be standing and just fall immediately asleep, and that would be dangerous. That's not a great one. And flinch. And flinching is what we do when we're looking to where danger might be. Like if this door behind me got slammed, I might go and flinch and look to where the danger might be. Okay, so flinching is a response that makes us look to where danger might be. Okay, the amygdala is pretty good at doing its job, but the problem is half of the time when it senses danger, there really isn't danger. And remember what I said, it unplugs the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain that makes good choices. So that can be a problem. Okay, remember that. So the last part of the brain that we're going to talk about is the hippocampus, and it's represented by the green areas in our brain. The hippocampus is really important. It's our library. It saves everything that we do. It saves our memories, our habits, everything, okay? If we learn our math facts, multiplication facts, that gets stored in the hippocampus. Kelso's choices get stored in the hippocampus. The PFC relies on the hippocampus to get information to make good choices. So the PFC goes across the hall to talk to the hippocampus and say, hey, what resources do I remember that will help me solve this problem? Okay, that's how they work together. And the amygdala is just trying to keep us safe. Okay, so remember I said our amygdala takes in information from our senses: sight, smell, taste, sound, and touch. So if you look at this picture of this girl that's smelling the flowers, like our breathing, that looks safe unless there's a bee in that. She would hear the buzzing or she would see the bee, okay? If there was a bee in there and she was allergic, that could be a problem, okay? Ice cream. Now, is ice cream not safe? Only if you get a brain freeze, right? Then your amygdala might say, this is dangerous, it hurts my head. But that's kind of a joke, okay? But think of the amygdala like our fire alarms, okay, that are in the building, or might be the smoke alarm at your house, okay? It's there to warn you that there's danger. But the problem is we need to calm ourselves down so our PFC, prefrontal cortex, can determine, what is it that's actually dangerous? Is there danger? So that's where we have to know how to do that emotional ABC breathing. And remember Kelso's choices. Kelso says there's two kinds of problems, small ones and big ones. Small ones, he says, we're smart enough and we're strong enough emotionally to solve on our own by using one of his 9 choices. But big problems are big. They're scary, they're dangerous, and we have to get help. Everyone that faces a big problem has to get help from another adult that they trust. Okay? So it's important to remember and store that in your hippocampus. Hey, I can solve problems if they're small problems. But if they're scary and they're dangerous, that's a big problem, and I know what to do. I need to get help. All right. I have a short video here for you to watch. It's called Icing on the Cake. So take a look at this video and then we'll talk about it.
Stephanie, I'm sorry I couldn't come to your birthday party yesterday.
That's okay. I'm glad you were able to come today. Thanks for my present. I love it.
What else did you get?
My older brother gave me this book about fish, and my grandma got me this sweater.
Wow, that's cute.
Girls, do you want some birthday cake?
Sure. See, that cake was decorated with flowers. It looks good.
Sure does. Let me put a couple pieces on plates for you. And then you two can help yourself.
Wait, I wanted that piece with the icing.
But I wasn't here yesterday.
But it's the only...
Stephanie and Ashley have a conflict. What do you think Stephanie needs to do before she can solve her problem?
Ashley took my piece of cake. I was saving it for myself. I'm about to lose my temper. I better calm down. It's not worth getting in a fight with my friend over a piece of cake.
Stephanie uses her belly breathing to calm down and focus. Now she can identify what her problem is.
I wanted that piece of cake, but I didn't tell Ashley beforehand. I've acted so selfish. We both want the same piece of cake.
The next step is to ask yourself, what are some solutions?
So what should I do? I could grab the plate and run out of the room. I could tell my mom to make Ashley give me the piece of cake. I guess I could apologize and just ask Ashley for the piece I want. We could always share it. I could give something to Ashley in exchange for the piece. She is my guest, and I could let her just have the piece she wants. I don't know.
The next step is to evaluate each of the possible solutions and ask yourself, is it safe? How might people feel about it? Is it fair? And will it work? Based on those questions, Stephanie has decided what she wants to do.
Ashley, I'm sorry I started to yell at you about the cake. Yesterday I got a piece with fake flour. Go ahead and keep this one. No, I can really tell you want this. You take it. Let's face it, Ashley, we both want that silly piece of cake.
All right, so this all started out really nice. It was Stephanie's birthday the day before. Ashley couldn't make it to her party. It was nice that she could come the next day over and give Stephanie her gift and have some cake, right? Kind of a special, like, second birthday for Stephanie. But what was the problem? Yeah, there was one piece of cake that had icing on it that was a rose. Stephanie wanted that. Okay, and she got mad when Ashley reached over and just grabbed it. Ashley made an assumption that since she wasn't at the party the day before, that she should get the icing. Okay, Stephanie got really upset. Quick, could you tell? Yeah, so she needed to calm down. Okay, so before she could calm down, she can't really think of good solutions. I mean, her solutions were, number one, grab the piece of cake and run out of the room. That doesn't sound safe, and that doesn't sound fair, okay? The second one was that she could tell her mom and have her mom make Ashley give her the cake. That would probably work, but again, Ashley would feel bad maybe, and that might ruin their friendship, okay? Stephanie said she could apologize and let her know, hey, I was saving that piece. That sounds safe, and that sounds like it might work. She thought that she could just trade it. Maybe she could trade something for it, like share and take turns kind of a thing. That sounds safe too, and that sounds like at least they're having a conversation as friends. And the last one she thought of was they could share it. Okay, maybe they could just cut it right down the middle and each get a piece with part of the icing rose. We don't get to see what they decide, but I thought it was funny that at the end, they both were true friends. And this is what I mean. They both thought of the other person's needs before themselves. Ashley said, Stephanie, you have the cake. It was your birthday. I'm sorry. You go ahead. Meaning, I care about you and I want you to have it. Stephanie said, No, Ashley, you're my friend and I care about you and I want you to have it. I had a piece yesterday. So we don't get to see what they decide. But because Stephanie calmed down, they were able to get to that place to have a conversation. So ways to calm down. So Stephanie did her deep breathing, the emotional 1, 2, 3 breathing. Another idea is you could count from a number like 10 and count down to 0 to calm yourself down while you're doing breathing. Stephanie thought calm thoughts to herself. She was saying to herself, it's just a piece of cake. It's okay. I need to calm down. You could even talk to yourself and say those things out loud. That's another way to help you calm down. Because once you're calm, your PFC, your prefrontal cortex, plugs back in. And then you're able to make good choices. And that's what she knew she needed to do. And that's what we all need to practice in order to make good choices. So again, breathing. Breathing is so important. And I have this picture of this dandelion. So you might breathe in like you're smelling the flowers, and when you blow out, instead of thinking of candles on a cake, you could think of this dandelion, and when you blow out, the seeds blow off of the dandelion into the wind, and you could pretend that that's your mad feelings floating out into the wind. And after doing that, you're going to find yourself calming down and able to solve whatever problem's in front of you. All right, dragonflies, after you watch this video, I want you to do the Flipgrid activity that's attached, and I hope you have a great day. See you later.